Hello everyone and welcome back. This is Lawford with Lawford Plays. Today we're coming back to our city of Truffmont. This is episode 5. Last episode we did a bunch of work on our traffic. We're going to continue with that today. You can see it's growing nicely. It's a natural growing city. I've tried to make it as organic and realistic as possible. We're going with no DLC and no mods, so this is straight CS1 vanilla. You can see we started working last time and developed a new intersection here, but we still have traffic, so we're going to deal with that today. We've also got some other various problems like garbage collection, and I'm sure other things will crop up as we go. We will be planning a new bypass to help alleviate this traffic, and we'll be doing a few other things like putting in buses. I've been teasing that for a couple different episodes. We're finally going to get to that today. So let's get started. Alright, we're going to start from a bird's eye view of the city. You can see we're on pause right now. We've got a couple of things to take care of really quickly before we start building anything new. These error messages, we've got a couple over here. This is actually left over from the previous episode. We've got this water pumping station and this water drain pipe turned off, and that's why we're getting this message. So we're going to leave these off for now. We've got some pollution here that's causing problems. We don't want to run those right now, but I'm keeping them there so that in the future we can turn them back on once we get a water treatment plant. So we'll leave those alone, but over here you can also see that we have this little issue with garbage. Garbage is piling up. Now, we can have various reasons that this can be a case. Garbage trucks have to reach the building. We do have quite a number of garbage trucks. We do have enough landfill space. You can see that here. We only have 53% between our two landfills. We also are processing pretty efficiently, but well, I guess we are not processing anything like with we're not big enough to get an incineration plant. But as far as picking it up and so on, we're doing pretty well. However, you can see as we look on this map that our coverage, our reach is not great. Our efficiency is quite low farther out, and that's causing this problem. We have previously increased our budget over here. If we look at our budget in the economy section, we have previously increased the garbage collection budget for nighttime collection, and that's costing us a little bit more money for now. We might be able to drop that down soon, but it's still not enough to deal with this problem, and that's all because of how far away these are. Now, I could put another landfill over here, but I don't really want to make this nice little residential area to include a landfill near it. I keep that near this industrial section. So what are we going to do about that? The best bet is to deal with our traffic problem here, which is probably part of the cause of that garbage piling up. We'll go ahead and switch over and you can take a look. You can see here we have traffic. Obviously in the main view we can see it, but this shows just how bad it is. This is after we've made some changes here. Last episode we did a bunch of changes, putting in these this overpass and these ramps from this highway to redirect traffic. We've upgraded this intersection a bit, and yet it makes sense. This is a pretty big area of industrial, and yet we have one road going through here, and this road is a low to medium capacity road. So we've got to deal with that. And so we also have to deal with this, and they seem to be connected. So can a garbage truck get all the way over across here? It's a long distance, not to mention having bad traffic here. So we're going to deal with that by putting in a bypass. We're also, as I mentioned earlier, going to put in some buses that will help reduce traffic overall through the city, and we'll just see how this all goes. Now, from a bypass perspective, what I mean by that is it's this concept of putting a higher capacity, faster road going around the city. There's a lot of different ways to do that. We have various road options, although because I'm not using any DLC or mods, my options are a little more limited. So I'm just using what's built in, and we're gonna go ahead and plan out this this bypass to deal with this traffic problem. We're going to do that first, and then we'll come back, and once that's in place, we're gonna put in some more buses. Actually, I should say we're going to put in any buses. At this point, we don't have buses at all. So so let's get started on this. What I'm looking at is where I can best put a this type of road. I can build it out here if I want to. So you come off the highway, you can get onto this bypass. That's an option. Let's see. We can put it and build it into the middle of this, so it's for future development. We have a bit bigger road here. We can run it then this way. And I'm also wanting to keep in mind where I want to put my buses. So buses do require a bus depot. The bus depot itself sends out buses for your bus lines. That's what it says there. And so you have to build a bus depot before you can build a line. The line has bus stops in it. And so we will need to build a bus depot, and that's where the buses will go out to go to the line. We can also build various types of bus-only things, bus lanes, all these types of things. They're available in this panel, but also in the roads panel, and we'll do that too as we get there. But I say all this because we have to plan when we're building our bypass how we're going to deal with buses, how we can best leverage our space, and also plan where we're putting the bus depots so that buses don't have to drive all over the place to get to their line. So it's quite a tall order, but we're gonna try that. And what we're bypassing is essentially this main section. So if we look at our traffic, we can see there's traffic all over here. These are very slow roads. I did check after the last episode, and these are all speeds based on kilometers an hour. And so in miles an hour terms, if you're, say, American, this is quite slow. I believe it's less than 20 miles per hour on these small roads. And you only get up to 50 and 60 kilometers an hour are still fairly slow by American standards. But that's what we have to work with, so that's fine. Anyway, all that to say, all of this is going to be pretty slow as it is. I could try to build this up and make this bigger, and I might in time, but what the bypass will do is it will take traffic from this big section here and move it all the way down. Now, how do I decide that the bypass is the right thing to do? And I've taken a look at this before the episode began just to see what might be done about this problem, and this is really the evidence. So you can see there's traffic coming all the way out here. This is private vehicles, so people commuting for work. This includes the city service vehicles, the trash trucks, and so on and so forth. But you'll notice there's not a lot of freight going most of the way on this road. And of course, pedestrians can only walk so far, so they're only walking in that area. However, if we connect some kind of a bypass here, so a faster road that will carry the traffic through, then we can get people from this area all the way down here much faster. We can also get some of the city service vehicles, other trucks that are trying to reach down here a bit faster as well. It also gives us a good place to expand in the future, so we could actually build out farther this direction off of that bypass or other types of things. And it also will look interesting, I think. So this city is not really large yet. Truffmont is quite small, but not tiny. And that's why we're starting to see these traffic problems, especially the farther away we get from a single zone. One possibility we can also look at is expanding our bypass this direction, crossing over the highway, routing around this side. That may be an option too. We're not trying to build this necessarily as like a highway, so it's not like an expressway per se, but more of I mean, we could even zone on it if we want, but just a little bit faster kind of route, and especially with more capacity. So that's a lot to sort of digest. But just as we look at this, we can see we've got to deal with it. We've got some problems, serious problems here, and we want to offload a lot of this traffic, especially this traffic that's going out. Now, with a bypass going down this direction, it will not change anything about the traffic into these areas, but it will reduce the traffic on any roads. So people coming down here will take the bypass most likely. It's faster. All of yeah, that's all city services. So all the city service vehicles might use that because it's going to be faster. So it just provides a faster route around the city, so you're not going through the middle of the city and all of the development in the middle. People who still need to go there can do that, though. So the real question we have is, do we connect here? Do we connect, say, down here? I mean, we could connect really anywhere if we want. If we want to wipe out some of these buildings, we could do that too. So I'm going to take a quick look at that. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference at this point, one way or another. If we put it here, it means people can get off the highway, get onto the bypass very easily. We could also build out some other roads or move, sort of put it down in this middle range down here. We also have to choose exactly what types of roads we're going to build for our highway. We can upgrade those later if we want, but we'll have to choose that too. So as we're looking at this, let's see. So if we build out here, this is going to make this probably fairly tight, but it does provide access. It has access off the highway. It has access from this area, but it is going to route more traffic down these routes. If I say convert this into a larger road and make this into the bypass running through, it's not really a bypass in this section, but and then run it downward, we can have a nice, we can get traffic out of these areas. All the city service vehicles can go much faster on there, and we have other options as well. So I think that's what I'm going to do. We're going to try this out. We'll see how it goes. Now, I've got to choose the road I want to use. These are going to be a little too slow. These 2-lane roads. All of these 2-lane roads are speed 40, and that's just a little slow for my purposes. They do, we do have some good options there, but it's just a little bit slow. I could try to do something like with a highway that's on the other end. That's much faster, but again, this is a minimum of 3-lane, one way, and then you can put expressway, bus only expressways. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to choose one of these smaller ones. We'll go ahead and do a 6-lane. What I think we're going to want to do, let's see. We have some one-way roads. We don't need that level of capacity yet. These are all high traffic, but they're a little bit faster, so that's why I'm considering them. There's also options for decorative trees, which do lower noise pollution. That may be a good option for this because this will get traffic. Now, whatever we choose, anything larger than, say, these small roads is going to change the dynamic. You can see already this is a much larger tool with this larger road than the current space. So when we do that, it's going to demolish, and you can see it's going to do that all the way through. It's going to end up re-demolishing all of those sections. If we go a little smaller, it will still do that. Really, the only thing that stays about the same are these very small roads, because that's what these are right now. So no matter what we do, we're going to have that problem. I'm also going to look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this in kind of a curve around through here. The goal is not so much to connect in to this kind of section, because these have direct roads already. People will continue to take them. We may add some other feeder roads to this bypass. We'll see. But for now, it'll curve down. And what I want to do is I want to connect it and get it all the way through to this little development that we've got down here, this neighborhood. And this seems like a pretty good intersection to use to do that, but what's not quite as ideal is this section. So this is a lot of commercial. There is a lot of development in here. It's quite good to have, and it's good to connect into, but it doesn't make it quite as easy to just run a road through. But I think we're still going to do that. We're going to run through here, run the bypass across. This is undeveloped yet. Run it through here, and then connect it back in a loop up through this wooded area. There are, of course, several ways, you know, like I said, of going about this, but we'll just try that for now. One thing I'm going to have to do first is redo my electrical lines here. One thing that has changed is I put these all in early on in like the first and second episodes so that I had power to all these very distributed neighborhoods. That's not an issue anymore. They're not as distributed now. We have actually a direct connection right there, so we may not even need these any longer, but I'm gonna still try to be careful with them. We might have a problem here. I'm currently paused. I'm not going to demolish too many yet, and we'll see if this causes any problems. I don't think it will, because we have that little connection right there, but I'm not sure 100%. I think it'll be okay. So we'll continue on. Let's see. So we have a couple options. One problem with the medium roads is that there are no bus lanes available for them. That's actually not an issue for us at this moment, because what I think we're going to do is we're going to actually run a bus expressway through here. And so what that is a bus only. So this is a two-way bus only expressway. You can do an expressway ramp as well, which is just one lane. This is a speed of 100. So this is the same speed as one of these highways, and that will let buses go very fast, relatively, and also emergency vehicles can use a bus-only lane. So that's a very good option for us if we don't want to put bus lanes on this at this early stage on this bypass coming through here. And actually, that makes a lot of sense for us, because it means that the buses can get down here much faster and so on. What I'm going to see here, what we want to do then is we'll go ahead and build a 4-lane. I'm thinking with decorative trees. So inside this little zone, I'm not going to put anything. I'm just going to use parking spaces as it currently has. It supports medium traffic. That's good. It is going to be a bit bigger, and I'm just going to do this. Ooh, if I can. I may not be able to. Oh, it's already... I've got to upgrade it. That's what it is. So I will go ahead and upgrade this. So we're upgrading to a 4-lane with parking spaces and a median. There. And... oh, I see. Yes. We actually have this oil power plant. And so I'm going to actually relocate that building. It's going to move. I'm going to put it on this brand new space here. And then I'm going to go back and upgrade the rest of these. Oh, and I think I have to relocate that too. Let's see here. Yes, that's a firehouse. Let's go ahead and relocate that right here. Everyone's both angry and happy at the same time. And we will now upgrade that. And I'm going to go ahead and fill that with industrial. So there it is. It's a nice traffic upgrade. It's not going to make a big difference right now for here, but it will be useful in the future. And these poor people in Goods Unlimited are going to be destroyed as we work through here. But that's the price for expansion. So we're going to continue on. I think at this point, I'm just looking to see if I want to... So I like this right in the middle of the industrial zone. It doesn't make a lot of sense to have a bunch of trees in the industrial zone. noise pollution is not an issue for them. They're already quite noisy in the industrial zone. But farther out, it's not a bad thing to have some trees. My upkeep will go up a little bit, though. I may leave it. Let's just leave it for now. We might upgrade that as we go. But right now, we probably don't need those trees. The noise is not going to be an issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change to this curved road tool, I think. We'll just try this. And what this will let us do is do a very managed curve, so it's 90 degrees. And I can just curve this beautifully through here. I'm going to probably go ahead and demolish some of the power lines there, just so that I don't have any issues with those going through here. And actually, we don't need them anymore. We may need them again, so we can always put more back in. Notice down here we still also have some trash issues here too. You can see those emergency highlights. That is an issue. It's the same issue, I think, as has been over here. It's coming and going, which is just reflecting how the garbage trucks can't make it. So let's go ahead and connect this in. You can see the lighting is a little bit different on these larger roads. And we can always upgrade these roads later, so that's why I'm starting kind of with a little bit cheaper. It costs a little bit less up front, 60 instead of 80 a cell, and the upkeep is a little bit less, and that just helps us a bit. But we can always upgrade these to have trees, to be bigger later, and that type of a thing. Alright, so let's connect this in. And again, I'm using this curved road tool. I'm doing a 90 degree. Now it is a little bit challenging here, especially at night, to get this quite right. Let's see. I'm trying to get this. Yeah, I want just a nice curve, like so. And I'm going to change and make this straight here. And I might freeform it through here to make it a little more organic, but we'll see if that works. Keeping in mind my destination goal is to connect there. Now actually, I could just make this completely straight if I wanted. Go here. I can also... I mean, there's a number of options. I can just be cutting right through here. I can connect this in and upgrade it or do something different. Let's see. We have a lot of options. What I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to... Well, let's try this. We're going to curve this up and through. Like so. Yes, that's pretty good. So we have this nice, it's all upgraded in the middle. We can always connect this around to get people up here if we want to expand out here. But we've upgraded all of our area there. So we have a nice connection into the industrial zone. And you can see people are already starting to use this road. And then it connects all the way down. It's crossing this smaller road, which is acting as sort of an on-ramp, really, it looks like already. And then it's intersecting our main commercial area here, and then crossing over and connecting into this area. So one thing I want to do is rename these roads and do a little bit of a road reorganization. So this has been named Miller Boulevard, so we can use the Adjust Road tool. And I'm going to, in the spirit of our Truffmont name, I'm going to use, this is Truffle Boulevard. And actually, I might go ahead and call this Truffle Bypass. It may become a boulevard in concept more in the future if we develop along it, but for now we're going to call it this bypass. Now you can see it's cutting through here all the way. I think it's okay calling it that and naming it that way through the middle of the intersection, the industrial section there. But down here, calling all of this a bypass or a boulevard doesn't make much sense. So we're going to pull this down, and what this is going to do is it's going to limit the name, and instead this now is called Cooper Street. They've automatically named it, and Truffle Bypass ends here. So we're in good shape. We have a nice organic curve here. We've built it through. It's going to be much faster. It's still, like I said, by American standards, it's going to be a little bit slower than we might like. We can follow like a garbage truck here, and this is normal speed, and that's pretty good. We're going a bit faster. It's a bit more direct. No traffic in the middle of the city. And I'm not upgrading into the middle of the city to make all of those really heavy traffic roads. The goal of this is to get traffic that wants to go from this section over here all the way down here without taking it into the middle of the city. And it seems to be doing that. We're already getting traffic through here. This is a little bit of a busy section, couple busy intersections, but it's pretty smooth. It feels pretty smooth to me anyway, and then connects in here into a smaller kind of development. From farther away, you can see it sort of loops up a little bit here in this section. I think that feels more natural than trying to really bulldoze through all of this kind of corner section, but it also gives good off ramps, so to speak. They're not actual off ramps, but kind of a good way for traffic to get on and off this bypass right here in the middle of the city. So it's not highly sophisticated, but it seems to work. Now if we look at our traffic already, it's already a bit lower. Now it is nighttime by our day-night cycles, so that changes things, but you can see we're already getting traffic along these roads. This intersection has boosted up hugely as a result, and that makes sense. So you can see how people are using this. They're going all over the place, and so we may have to do a few more things to deal with this situation. Say upgrade some roads here, but for now we're gonna leave this. Actually, I will go ahead and upgrade that with a slightly bigger set of roads. So right now there's traffic along parked cars along those, and we're not going to do that. We're going to change this to be a little bit bigger. I think it's here. Yes, the 4-lane road, still a little bit lower, and we're going to upgrade that so that we've got a little bit bigger section here. Yeah, that helps that quite a bit. And we might be doing some of those kind of selective upgrades. In fact, yeah, we might be doing more of that in this little section. One thing I do like is this creates this sort of this space here. It's kind of a developed triangle with a lot of the other commercial. We can also expand more of our commercial in this area now as a result. But the traffic is already using this well. We're moving people, and our garbage problems seem to have disappeared, I think. Yes, I don't see any more. So that may have resolved that problem because of how much faster we can move traffic along here. Something else I'm going to do is go ahead and adjust. I'll do another road adjustment here. I recall from one of our previous episodes we had a little problem. Wow, I'm sorry, I'm clicking these everywhere trying to find the right tool. There it is. So Smith Street runs, this is this longer road. It runs all the way up to this mountain or hill, or yeah, more of a hill at this point. These foothills, and and runs through the middle of the city, which is fine. And then it becomes the same road that's in this sort of subdivision area, and that doesn't seem right either. So we're gonna pull this down, and then yeah, that becomes Pleasant Street. That sounds good. This is Smith Street, running through the city now, and we'll leave that. It can connect all the way down, but it doesn't make sense to have a subdivision, a little subdivision street that's very short, become a much bigger road that's commercial and so on. So that's sort of a little side improvement I've been waiting to do. So things are already improving traffic-wise by doing this. It's already lessened a bunch of the traffic here, and we may still do some bits and pieces to upgrade where the intersections are. You can see that's still an issue there, but not nearly as bad. We're moving a lot more people. Unlike, just as a point of comparison, this is in the second category. We went from this kind of local road, so it's a two-lane road, and these have become 4-lane roads, and they're faster, but they also support medium traffic, and that helps. And if we need to, we can always upgrade these to a 6-lane road, and that may help even more over time. But at this point, we don't need that. So we have room for development. These do allow zoning along them. You can see that there. I could zone all of this in. I'm going to leave that for now. I don't want to overstock it with people at this point, but I could do that in time. And so we're looking pretty good here. Now, we talked about buses. Buses are another thing. So we're going to start putting out a little bit of bus placement. So we've got to build our depot. And the question of where the depot should go is key. There's a number of questions, actually. The other question is how should the lines run? And with lines, you want to connect them for various purposes. There are people who will want to go shopping. They'll want to go to commercial, so they'll use a mass transit, like a transport line for that. They want to go to work, so they'll do that as well. It won't necessarily help freight traffic or things like that, because at least not something like, yeah, buses won't, because they don't carry freight. So it's really people, transportation, and at this point. And we're big enough that buses make sense. It's not going to require a lot of buses, but it will help us a little bit, and it's also kind of a fun thing to do. So I'm looking down here, and what I think I'm going to do is put the depot over here, and I'm going to build also, as I mentioned, a bus-only expressway. So yes, you can see this is a speed 100, so much faster. It's twice the speed of this road, and it's the speed of basically a highway. And so, but it's a bit smaller. Let me just show you that again. So that's there, and I'm in the upgrade mode. So it's it's quite small because it's just the size of a 2-lane road. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do the depot is gonna be in here. And I can, of course, build multiple depots or do things like that. They assign buses automatically, and if you read like the tooltips, you can adjust the number of buses available with the public transportation budget. You can also set the number of buses for your lines, and at this point, we don't have any lines yet, but I'll show you that in a minute. There is noise pollution from a bus depot. There's not any regular pollution, but we'll probably put it over here in the industrial section anyway. Rather than, well, I actually suppose I could put it, I don't really, you can see the little gap around it. That little orange circle is the noise pollution. So I'm trying to say, do I really want to put it in my commercial area? Do I really want to put it along this nice new bypass? I think I'm going to stay with the original plan and put it in industrial, and I'm going to run from there my expressway. Maybe I'll look at my expressway first. So this is a 2-way bus-only expressway. Similar type of thing to the bypass, I think. Just gonna take a look here. It's gonna again demolish some things. I'm just gonna try to take a look at this. So I can sort of do this in parallel. I have options there. Yeah, it's not quite parallel, but something along those lines. Well, that's quite interesting. So I think what I'll do is I'll build it actually quite close. Maybe. This may be an interesting situation later as I try to do more development later. I may end up regretting this. One of the things that you have to keep in mind is, do you want to develop along this road later? And right now, I mean, I've left zoning on there, but I am not planning on developing that much. I will probably connect roads to it and develop off of that, but I don't know for sure. And you'll find in different cities, the nature of the bypass changes things. You have people who, it'll develop, the city will develop it in a massive way, and tons of stuff is on the bypass. And then you'll have others where there's no development at all. And so right now I'm going with the no development kind of idea, where there's just a few little offshoots here until we get down in here. But I might change that in time. So we'll stick with that idea for now. Build this. See if I can build this. What I might do actually is go ahead and build this in here. So I'm connecting it into the main industrial. One of the reasons I'm doing this way is you cannot put a bus depot on like a bus expressway. So it has to be on some kind of major road, or some kind of normal road, I should say. And so otherwise, and I don't want it on my new bypass here. I don't want to be sending a lot of buses on that. I'd rather keep them in the sort of the industrial zone. This is just a personal preference. I'm not going to start the bus line construction first. I'm going to go ahead in this direction, start going ahead and building this out. I should remember I'm using the curve tool here. So one of the things I'm trying to consider here is, how do I connect this back in? How much of this is an express? Where does it, does it connect through? And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this as an expressway for this portion where there's not a lot of development, and then I'm going to connect it back in farther down. Now there's a few places I can do that. I can connect it here. I can connect it, farther in, but I think I'm just gonna do, let's look at this. So one of the reasons I'm doing this from a farther distance is to see the whole road, see the shape of the whole road, see how it feels, and see if it's retaining some level of sort of the right shape. This is not going to be perfection, I don't think. Actually more like, if I move it back a little bit, that's probably more like the correct shape. We'll go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to freeform it into that intersection, which seems a little bit crazy, but that's just what I want to do. So this connection, this is a good place that I can overlap. The buses can get off or on, and I can actually put bus lanes in through this sort of more urban development part. And I don't know if I would do that all the way. And we're not going to do all that this moment. We don't need to, but we have this nice expressway now. We have the bus depot there, and so the buses can get out of here onto the bypass. It can go down to this Dexter Drive is what it's called. I may rename that. And actually this road, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade this because it's right in front of the bus depot. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little upgrade there. Make it able to handle a little bit more traffic because buses will come out of there quite aggressively. Okay, so now we have to run our bus lines. We have the roads. We have some reduced traffic. We have improved a number of things there. You can see how much better it is. It is again nighttime. The day-night cycle does change that a bit, but you can see overall we're moving quite a bit more traffic along this road now. You can see there it all is. You can see we've got there's no public transport here yet. But city service vehicles, there's the garbage trucks. They're going quite nicely there. We have regular pedestrians, and over here we have regular trucks, and they're delivering cargo to supply these businesses. So it's quite nice. I'm pretty happy with how this has turned out so far. We'll see how it goes. Everything, as I always talk about, everything in a city is organic. It does change. Things affect each other, and we often will regret things, but that's the nature of any of city building. And in real life, you have to deal with what you've got. You've got different challenges in a given city, and so we have the same here. Okay, so let's look at our lines. We place bus stops to create a line, as it says there, and they have to be circular, is what they say. So there's a couple different things I want to do, and there's a lot of different ways to approach creating these lines. So you could have one, I mean, you could in theory have one giant line throughout your whole city, and at a city this size, it might be okay. I think in a larger city, of course, you're going to see other types of situations and lots of different lines that feed into centralized points. I don't have, at this point, an idea of where I would put a centralized sort of transit hub. And we're still so early in the life of this city, it may not really matter much in that sense. And we can always change it. But we know a couple things. We know that there will be people who want to get from like these industrial zones to their homes and back. So we can do buses in any of this area and back to industrial. We also, of course, have residents down here, same kind of thing. And we also know that all of these people will want to, at some point, get into the higher level commercial areas. So most of our commerce is in here. We've got some little convenience stores and things, but they will want to kind of come into this middle commercial section. And so we've got to have lines that deal with that. I think for our first line, let's see. Let's go ahead and run. We also want to make good use of what we just built. So we'll want a couple things. We want let's see here. Let's go ahead and put some lines, a couple lines here, and these are going to be pretty small. And you can also assign your vehicles and things. We're going to try to do this. Let's see. So we're going to put right here. There's a stop. Right here, there's a stop. You can see it reaches most of those people. Yeah, we'll leave that and then drive them in here. I think we're going to put the stop right there. And then we're going to connect this. And you can see if I put a stop here, of course it has to drive on that road. But if I take a stop here instead, it's taking that expressway that we just built. So that's good. What I'm going to actually do is put a stop right here. And right here. So one thing to keep in mind, we don't have connecting roads, so I can't like route around. I can't drive through all of this industrial. But that's okay for now. We will have to deal with that. And if we change this road and things, you know, they can't turn around the same there. In fact, you know, I'll just go ahead and do this way. And keep going back and then stop. We'll do a stop here. And then it comes back through. And we're going to put a stop right here, right across the road from the other one. And we have to make this connect completely. Oh wow, and you can see, I'm going to pause it, you can see the people already gathering in there. I'm going to just add a couple extra stops there just for the fun of it. So it's now a complete loop. It's paused. I'm going to look at my lines overview, and here we have line 1. It's colored blue. It's a blue line. And if I look at it, you can see this is a special line view, and you can see the people at each of the stops along the route. Now, this is also where I can set the number of vehicles, and that's based on budget. So I've got 13 is set. And I might just leave it as default. I'm leaving it both day and nighttime. And I'm going to, so this is, I'll just call this blue line because it's not very specific. It's covering a couple different purposes. And for that reason, we'll just leave it as more of a generic color line name. So, let me move this here. I'll just move that. So yes, you can see all of these people are ready to go. There's quite a few of them. And it will take some time for the buses to all sort of operate. They have to get down there and so on. But they'll come from here, so we'll do that momentarily. I'm going to open that transport view again. And yeah, we're just going to leave it as this regular bus. It's a reasonable capacity bus. So this is how you can see, so there's 28 at this first stop. This is way down here. 84 is what is waiting there. 7 here in the commercial thing. And I've intentionally doubled up so they're sort of parallel or near parallel so that people going one way or another can go on that bus line. I did not match that perfectly over on these. You can see, like, this one doesn't have a matching one because it's a smaller little neighborhood and it's at the end of the line, so it won't make a big difference. But I have doubled up there, and then I have an extra one here. So even if someone wanted to go, someone getting on at this stop down here is not going to, it's not going to be an issue to get on and then they go one stop and they turn around and come this way. So if they wanted to get down to, say, this commercial zone, it's not a big issue. But in the middle ones, I do try to double them up so that people don't have to drive all the way down to the end of the line and back around, and that's quite a distance. So we'll stick with that. There's no stops, of course, on the expressway, so that's nice. And then there's various stops down here, and we're gonna go ahead and start this. So meanwhile, there are still people gathering. There's not a lot coming in the, like, that's pretty small. And we just see most of these are small. you can see the buses are all coming out. They're colored blue. They're matching this transport view, and they sort of automatically space as they go. So they pour out, and then they sort of wait. And then each of them has a certain number of passenger capacity, 30, and they're going along. Now, one nice thing is you can see they join the line where it makes the most sense. So the line goes right by the depot, which is perfect. So then they come out and they're joining the line at this stage. They're not driving all the way down to the beginning of the line and starting down there. Meanwhile, at the beginning of the line, there is growing traffic down there. And if I have not played this game in a long time until just doing this series, and so I would tend to say there's much better line designs than this. I'm sure much more refined. Also, it's a little strange. The first stop is way here, and then down here it just doesn't fit perfectly. But I'm trying to avoid creating too many lines at this point. And wow, that one's getting very, very busy. 252. A lot of people gathering. So one nice thing is, while we wait for that, we can also see these people and what they're doing. So they're going to school. So they live over here. They've moved to this stop here, and then they're trying to get to that high school. So there's another example where I could place a different set of bus stops, and then buses could do that instead of this line, another line instead. But I'm just keeping one line for now, let it run a little bit, see what we got. You can see here comes the bus. It's dawn, so we can see the bus coming. The bus has 19 of 30 passengers. It dropped off a lot there. And it continues around. So the next bus is a little ways. I think they automatically space, so and that's of course based on traffic and how things happen, but you can see how much faster that bus is driving compared to this bug spray van. It's gonna probably get close to overtaking it. In fact, it did. Yeah, right there, except for the stoplights. Now, the stoplight, I had to manually add a stoplight on this because it was kind of a smaller intersection that became larger, but the stoplights are automatically created here. We can see that again in our junction view here. So there's stoplights on all of those, all the way through. So the buses are coming through. They are still pretty close together. But that's stopping at its stop. Now, you can see this is going to clog up traffic by having a bus stop right there. And this, wow, this is, that's quite the stop. You can see there's a lot of people at that stop. Yes, and they're going to work. And they're coming from this neighborhood here. So they walk over here as a pedestrian, they walk over here and then get on this bus stop and go. And the bus will take them. So the nice thing is they aren't driving. They're not driving all the way, and so that's alleviated a bit of that traffic. But it does mean that our transport line has to handle that level of traffic, which can be quite involved. Wow. And you can see it there. Let's open our transport view here again. Actually, I'm not going to do a build. I'm just going to switch it to this. So this has 484 right here. This stop has 330. Which is quite a lot. There's not a lot coming back, but it's also earlier in the morning, I believe, in the day-night cycle. It does seem like we've got maybe too much traffic on this line. We're going to find out. Yeah, so they're all going to work, going to the, various places, going to work at, yes, that commercial location. These people are going to work as well, yep. Let's take a quick look at our traffic in general. We'll have to come back and fix that. You can see this is quite busy. And I'm actually going to go ahead and do a connection over here so that we're in a little better shape. And that way vehicles can get around there without going through this middle section. So this is a pretty nice drive going through these woods. That's part of the reason I did this way. The woods are nice. And people can drive to where they need to be. So that person's going down here. There's a lot of activity. The buses are running quite aggressively. We do have a lot of traffic at these bus stops. That is a bit of an issue. What I might go ahead and do is I'm thinking of running another line so that we can offload a bit from this line, from the blue line to something else. So we might do that in the next episode. But you can see this is the basics of getting a bus line set up. There's still some challenges. We do have the garbage trucks running, but there's still some traffic issues, some routing issues here and there we're going to have to deal with as we go. Still a few things, and continuing to refine our buses, perhaps in the next episode. So this, once again, this is Lawford for Lawford Plays. Thanks for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it. Buses are a good time. Roads are a lot of fun. Welcome back to Truffmont, and we'll see you next time.